Well, a thinking school is many things, but fundamentally it is where there is a huge emphasis on the development of thinking in young people and where thinking is at the heart of the curriculum. Absolutely at the heart, and it is explicit, it is open, it is running right across the whole school with teachers, ancillary staff and the students all developing their metacognition to a very high level.
In developing their educational model, the founders of Thinking Schools International address the underlying question: how do we grow schools so that they explicitly support student-centered thinking for learning?
It's really about being able to facilitate student thinking and being very conscious about it, and that it's student-centered.
It was actually about what impact will this have on the learner, what kind of student, how resilient, can they be adaptable, can they cope with failing, and can they fail brilliantly? And then can they actually think for themselves and out of the box? Can they deconstruct their own learning and actually overcome problems themselves rather than asking for help straight away?
If we step back to a pre-K classroom or elementary school, if we're not facilitating and developing open-minded thinking as well as analytic thinking to be able to follow through, if we're not developing generative thinking as well as really being able to stay with the project over time, then they're never going to be in that place of being able to think up a great idea and possibly transform the world by it.
Educators at a thinking school are consciously facilitating students' thinking as well as teaching content knowledge.
So it isn't a matter of what is the teacher going to teach. Am I going to teach more content or am I going to teach more process? It's about the student engagement at that deep level of being fluent with tools for developing their own thinking.
It was so exciting to hear. So well done. You have brilliant adjectives as well.
So when we're able to really have different kinds of approaches that focus on the thinking, and it's efficiently done, you don't have a separate program for thinking. You have it embedded as fundamental really to the classroom experience, and students are fluent with those tools. You can look at content and process simultaneously. So we can look at what's on top, the content that's being learned. Then underneath, you can also see the thinking that goes along with it. And you can begin to assess them on the same plane. You can say, I see how you got here. I also see you might have some misconceptions. There might be some missing information, and I can see that in your process.
So I've got 3 points, and on the first day we did the problems, and then we drew a shell that Bhargav explained, and then we did the tables.
And that's where the Thinking Schools approach really focuses on those simultaneously. It's not a separation, it's really an integration point.
In 2012, Exeter University conducted research through interviews and surveys, exploring thinking schools and the implementation of their thinking models. Schools consistently reported increased levels of independent learning, improved academic attainment, fewer behavioral problems, and improved classroom management.
The aim is to move and shift the culture. The teacher is at the front of the class, and a lot of the teaching is about knowledge and facts, and the students are then tested on their memory of those facts, to one where the students are being encouraged and taught to think effectively, and the teacher is there as a facilitator of the learning.
Love them unconditionally.
What I very quickly realised last year in my first year here was that the thinking skills enabled me to do that better and smarter and more efficient than I had been able to previously. It not only enabled me to get to that place, it enabled the students in the room to learn to that level and higher quicker and more effectively than I had previously managed.